Hi, and welcome to my podcast. I'm Marcia, also known as Very Little on Instagram and Ravelry. And this is a knitting podcast all about the loveliness of yarn and knitting and crafting. And I hope you enjoy the show. I'd like to say a big welcome back to everybody who has watched before and is back for some more. And a big hearty welcome to anybody who's new and checking me out for the first time. I have a lot of you today, and I didn't think I did have very much, but then I started gathering it up together, and oh my goodness, there's so much. It's a week before Christmas, so the crunch is on. I've got a whole bunch of gift knitting that I've been working on, along with getting a whole bunch of things off of the needles. And so it has finally snowed here, and I am, as you can probably tell, a little bit snuffy. So I've had a really bad cold for the past few days, and I'm going to try to edit out any sniffling or sneezing or anything that could occur, any other yuckiness that comes with being sick. I'll try to edit all that out so that it'll be as smooth as possible for you. Just a couple things. We have a couple cows going on. I just want to go through this quickly and then we'll get right into the knitting. I have a colorwork cowl that just finished at the beginning of December, and I was co-hosting that with KT from Inside Number 23, and the thread was just packed with beautiful, beautiful colorwork, and I'm so impressed. If you want to be inspired by some beautiful colorwork, just go into that thread in our Ravelry group. I'll have the link below to our group, and go and check it out and take a look, because there's such beautiful, beautiful work in there. But I draw a winner for the Color Cow prize, but I want to show you quickly what the winner is going to win. It's this beautiful little tote bag, and I use it all the time. I use mine all the time. I was sent these lovely things from Barbara from Knitting I Love, and they were actually drawn as prizes previously, but the person who won them never claimed them, so I put them back in for this prize as well. So there's this beautiful tote bag and these double DPN holders and a little coaster, and there's a little tag and a fixed circular needle holder as well. So those two things, plus I'm going to send you a pair of scissors, if I could speak today, some little scissors from clemscottdesigns.com, and some little buttons from them as well, little flower buttons, and this big leaf bag. So that is what the prize winner is going to win, all of these lovely, lovely, beautiful things. And the winner I drew was number 44, who is Skandir, and she designed some beautiful mittens that are, they look Scandinavian inspired. They're very beautiful color work for a class she's teaching, and so I'm so excited to be sending this to you. If you could get a hold of me, and I will, with your address, and I'll send this out to you as soon as I possibly can. I have another cowl going on, and it is the Double Dip cowl. It is the final month for the Double Dip cowl. The thread is open in the Ravelry group, and you just go in and you enter any project that you've entered into another knit along, and you'll be entered to win a prize through the Double Dip cowl. I've drawn 3 times in the past year already for the Double Dip cowl. This will be the final drawing. I draw out of everybody who has entered. There's been hundreds of entries, and I will come up with some great prizes, and I usually draw 3 or 4 names out of that thread. So if you have anything that you're working on that you want an extra chance at winning something, just enter it in there. You need to join the group, and again, that link is down below. And the Double Dip cowl ends on December 31st. So January 1st, I'm starting a new cowl, and it is a knit one of my shawl designs cowl, and I think the blustery is one of the main ones on most people's minds of knitting, and that one just was released recently. So definitely get your yarn and your needles and your pattern all ready, and we're going to cast that on January 1st, and that's going to go to the end of January. The next cowl I'm going to be hosting as well in January. It goes all year long, and I'm co-hosting this with the Relentless Knitting audio podcast ladies, Emily and Carla. And it's a gift knitting cowl. So any project that you knit that is a gift for somebody can be entered into this cal. And it's just kind of to encourage knitting throughout the year for holidays and birthdays and that sort of thing, instead of doing what I'm doing, is crazy knitting right before Christmas, which I probably would do anyway. But so I'll be opening that thread on January 1st as well, and you can put all your gift knitting finished objects in there. So I'm going to show you what I've been working on. I've been working on a lot, actually. This works in progress cal has been very good for me, and most of the things that I have been working on within that are the things that I've started. I've finished mostly. There's a couple things I've been working on that are not done yet. One of those things that I have been working on is my big cozy blanket that is for my husband, and this has gotten a few more rows on it. These rows are super long, and it doesn't hold my interest very much. It's going to be great when it's done. It's a great use of this yarn, and it's mostly garter stitch. So that's probably why it's not holding my interest as much. And the yarn is a worsted weight, and my needles are 5.5 millimeter, which is a size 9 US, and they're Chowgoos. And it's just a matter of just knitting it, I feel like. It's fairly long. I think there's 250 stitches on here, so it's getting there. And I'll just continue working on it. Maybe I'll have it done by the new year. That would be great. I've had it beside the couch so that I can just pick it up and knit it. Also, another project that I have been working on is a cardigan that I designed, and I started it in May and then put it down when I got back from the Sorrento knitting retreat. That's where I started it. So I was just probably one repeat in here. So this yarn is from Knit Picks. It's Hawthorn, and the needles here are, they're high sharps, but what size are they? 2.75 millimeter, and this is a sport weight yarn, and it's got a nice little pattern on it. This is just my own design, so I don't know if this is something that I will type up and release as an actual cardigan pattern. I'm a little bit nervous about the idea of that, and I would definitely need to make sure that I'd have to set aside some time to make sure that all my sizings are right. It's very easy. I did make a mistake in one section, and I had to rip out from this marker all the way down to probably 3 repeats down, so probably down to there. I ripped that whole section out and just straight down, and then I re-knit that whole section. And since I re-knit that, I kind of just put it away. But since I showed it last week, it was about last time it was about here. So I have knit quite a bit on it, but after having that mistake within the first little bit from when I picked it up, I just put it away. But it's almost to where I can start splitting for the sleeves, so that's exciting. And this yarn is really nice to work with. It wasn't an expensive yarn. It was actually really inexpensive. It was in their sale bin, I do believe. I'm just seeing if I could find a tag. I don't know if I have any in here. Oh yes, I do. There we go. Knit Picks Hawthorn Sport in the Fremont colorway. There. So yeah, it's that one just needs more time. So it's coming along. I have another project that I have been working on over the last few days, and it's a pair of socks. I cast these on for one of my girls, and she has super skinny feet. So this yarn is Opal, and it is, well, I hope this is the right tag for it. In neon. Yeah, I think this is the right one. And it is pink and red and blue and dark blue and light blue. And it's it's got some pooling going on, which doesn't matter to me. I'm fine with it. You can actually see it better on the screen than you can in real life. It's a little bit different at the tops there. But I actually added ribbing into the top of the foot on the other side because her foot is so skinny. I wanted it to suck it in a little bit so that it has room to grow. And I did I used the Laura Neal pattern for her Stree sock heel, and I just changed it a bit because the heel didn't need to be as deep as the one in the pattern because it's for a child. So I just changed it a bit to be long enough for just her little heel. But it's also known as a French heel, and I really like this heel. It's one of my favorites, and actually it's kind of going to be my go-to now, I think, because I enjoy knitting it so much. But not just that, the fit is really nice, and I'm finding that a lot of my heels with afterthought heels and slip stitch heels aren't really fitting my heel as well as they could, and kind of sliding up my leg with my socks. So I'm trying to knit my socks a little bit shorter for my foot, but also doing the because this is a heel flap and gusset, doing the heel flap and gusset actually fits my foot a little bit better because I have a higher arch, and it just gives that extra room for it that my foot needs. So I'm knitting those, and they should be done in the next day or so. I haven't been knitting steady on them in the last couple days because I have been sick. They're coming along really well. I have some, oh, and also I worked on my scrappy sock blanket, but not enough to show you. It was just like a couple rows on one square. So I received some lovely, lovely mail. I received a package from the lovely Aina, who is the Happy Little Dye Pot, and she sent me 2 skeins of yarn. And okay, here, I'll show you. It's 100 grams, 400 meters, and it's 75% wool, 25% nylon or polyamide, and they are just beautiful. She's at www.thehappylittledyepot.etsy.com, so she's on Etsy, and this yarn is so pretty. Like, here. So pretty. I love the purple and green together. It just makes me happy. And this one has stellina in it, so it's 75% merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. And it is so pretty and sparkly. I love it. And it's a gold stellina in there, so it's so gorgeous. So that's going to be really, really pretty, I feel like. And the reds and oranges, it's just so vibrant. I love it. Thank you so much. It's just a beautiful gift to receive, and just, oh, I've just been staring at it, waiting to figure out what I'm going to knit with it. So super excited about that. So thank you very much. The package I received was a Christmas gift from my friend Katie from Inside Number 23. She knit me this beautiful shawl, and this is the Budding Bluebell shawl by Mina Phillip, and it is gorgeous. And Katie knit this for me, and I love it. It took my breath away when I opened the package. She also sent me some yarn from London House Yarns for my Christmas Eve cast on. Now I know and it's in the Yule Ball colorway, sorry. And I know that there's such thing as a Christmas Eve cast on thing out there, but I don't know who started it or where it's from, and I need to get caught up on podcasts. So if you know what it's about, please let me know in the comments below, because I really want to be involved in that, and I want to know who is responsible for it, because I want to give credit where credit is due. So I'm super excited about that. That's going to be awesome. She also sent me some beautiful tea and some beautiful little minis for my scrappy soft blanket. A lovely little letter, and she also sent me some Terry's chocolate orange chocolate bar, which I ate yesterday because it was delicious and I needed to have it. Thank you so much, Katie. That was a beautiful package, and I very, very much appreciate it. Couldn't have gone to somebody who would appreciate it more. Now it's time for the big reveal, all of my finished objects. This Project Whip has been amazing. It isn't over till December 31st, but it has done wonders for a lot of my knitting. I've gotten a lot of things finally finished. This is one of those things. It is my planned pooling scarf, and I ended up with just the tiniest amount of yarn after, and it's Ancient Arts yarn, and it's their sock weight. It was a seconds yarn, so skein, so it didn't have a name attached to it, so I can't give you that information, but it's a nice little scarf, and be good underneath something like a jacket or something. It's very nice. It was a project just to figure out how to do planned pooling. Like, that was the specific purpose, was for me to understand how pooling works and how you can control it and what you need to do. And it was an experiment, and so it's not a pattern. I just started knitting, and it's garter stitch, so just knit back and forth, and that's probably part of the reason I put it down, is because it was just garter stitch. But it was super fast to finish. I had probably 15 or 20 rows, and then I cast it off, and it's all done now, and I've blocked it. So my next finished object is the socks that I showed last week. They are in opal yarn, and I do not have the tag, so I cannot tell you what the yarn color is. And it was gift yarn from my friend Carla from the Knit Nicks podcast. And I did the Kiss the Partridge heel, and I used 2.0 millimeters, which is a size 0 US, I believe, high sharps, fixed circulars, and these socks were knit with 64 stitches. I'm actually going to be going down to 60 stitches. These are getting too loose for me now, so I am going to keep these ones. I'm not going to rip them out, but I am going to, for my next socks that I start knitting, I'm going to go down to 60 stitches for myself. But the other thing is I don't really need any more socks right now. This year I've knit over 50 pairs of socks, and I have a dresser drawer full, and I don't actually need any more socks right now. So any socks that I knit right now, my plan is to knit as gifts for people, because I don't actually need any socks right now. I wear hand knit socks every day, and I don't run out because I have so many, and I've been knitting a lot of socks for other family members as well, and so they're starting to not need socks as well, so that's very exciting. So that's one pair, finished object. I did knit another pair of socks. These are for my husband Nick, and he does not know that they're for him, and he usually doesn't watch the podcast, so I don't think he'll see this. And this is the French heel again, from the Stree sock pattern in Laura Neal's book. And I did a 2x2 rib across the top. I'll show you. 2x2 rib across the top, just to give it some stretch. I took Scylla's idea because I thought it was genius. So these have a lot of space in them. This is opal yarn again, but this is their, I do believe it's their DK weight yarn. It's just their little bit heavier weight yarn. So I still used, I think I used 64 stitches on this as well. Maybe just 60, but I think it was 64. And I knit this on my 2mm needles as well, because I find that even with larger yarn, that still gives me a nice fabric that I really like, and it's not too stiff. So these are finished, and they took me just a couple days to do. I also finished this sweater and I blocked it, and I finally did the underarms. They're done. All my ends are woven in. It's blocked. It's beautiful. I have not worn it yet. I think I will wear it on Christmas Day. I might wear it today or tomorrow, actually, to be honest. The yarn is from the Canadian mill in Alberta, in Carstairs, Alberta. It is, what is the mill name? For the yarn that this is knit out of in the last episode. So if you want to find out what the yarn is for this, just check out the previous episode. Now my next project that I finished, this is something I'm very, very proud of, and if you are watching on Instagram, and I have a previous episode or previous show about this, I knit a man's sweater in less than 24 hours. This was crazy. And I woke up at 5 in the morning and I started recording. I was really quietly recording because everybody in the house was asleep. And then I just knit all day, and I went to bed just after 1 in the morning, and then I got up at 8, and then I knit for 3 more hours, and it was done. So it was less than 24 hours. It was not straight. So there were a couple things that I would do differently. I had a knit night in there, and I probably wouldn't do that because it was more distracting for me, and I could have gotten it done a lot quicker. One sleeve took me 5 hours, and the other sleeve took me 3. So that was the difference between being a chatty Cathy and just getting to it. So, but I do want to try and do this again with a woman's sweater and do it just straight through and record straight through so that you guys can see the whole process. But it will be a little while because I'm just too run down right now. But I was so excited to be able to do this. And this is the sweater. It is the Flax by Tin Can Knits, and it is in a worsted weight yarn. It is the Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Superwash in Briar Heather, and I have quite a few skeins left over, so I might do a hat as well, but this one's for Nick as well, and it turned out really nicely. It is so pretty. It is so soft. It's not scratchy at all. That's one of his big complaints, is if it's scratchy, he doesn't like to wear them, but he will. But it's a free pattern on Ravelry, the flax, and I didn't do, so this is the flax that I'm wearing here, and the pattern has this ridge that goes down the sleeves, and I did not do that on this pattern. I just omitted that, and I just kept knitting. So you can see down the sleeve there's no pattern like that, so I just did it without that. It's a very, very simple pattern for a first-time sweater knitter. It's easy to follow. It has very, very good directions. I've knit this pattern 3 times now, and I definitely enjoy it, and I would definitely recommend it. They have every size imaginable on there. So it's just a really well-written pattern, and I just thought that would be the perfect pattern for this challenge that I challenged myself to. And yeah, I'm so excited about that. It's all blocked and everything now. It's ready to be wrapped for Christmas. I also pulled a prize for my $10 patrons for December, and the prize is this beautiful Judy Aslin wool, and it's a Canadian yarn, and it is 75% merino, 15% cashmere, and 10% silk, it looks like, and it's the anniversary colorway. This yarn is gorgeous and so nice. Their yarn is, their wool is sourced from ethical sources, and their yarn is just beautiful. It's just stunning. So I picked this up at Knit City, and this is the golden skein that I got up so early in the morning to pick up. And I'm going to give this away to one of my $10 Patreons. And I've pulled their name already. And it is the winner of this beautiful skein for my December patrons is Jana. So Jana, I will get a hold of you through Patreon and let you know that you've won. And you can send me your address and I will get this to you. So congratulations on that. In my previous episode, I mentioned a foot ruler for children. And this is the one that I use for measuring kids' feet and to know how long I need to make a sock for kids. And I got this on kidsandshoes.com/images/ruler/jpeg. And you can just print it out and then you can use it as a measuring tool for kids' feet. As well as I found this, and I'm not sure where I found this, but this gives you measurement for size of feet and approximate age, which is really good to have too if you're doing any sort of gift knitting. So I just wanted to include that so that you could see that there are certain things like this on the internet that you can just look up. There's one other finished object that I have, and it actually is a design that I made, and I'm doing a knit along with my patrons, but I wanted to show you what it is. It's a Christmas ball. Now this ball I knit with some scrap yarn that was left over from a shawl that I made actually, and it is an opal yarn and it has sparkle. It doesn't take very much yarn. It's I'd say probably less than 80 yards. I'd say it's probably about 10 grams maybe of yarn. And yeah, so I could do another one with this yarn that I have here, this little bubblet. I could knit another one. And so it requires a 2.5 inch ball. Now I had these and I've had them for a while, and I don't want them to go to waste because they don't recycle very well anyway. It's a styrofoam ball, but the pattern also includes if you want to just stuff it with some sort of stuffing. And I actually put the pattern up on Ravelry, so it's up there right now. It's available for $1.50. And but if you're a patron, go onto the Patreon page and see the information there. And it's very simple, quick knit, and there's tons of pictures in the pattern included. So if you want to do a quick knit before Christmas, then this could be it. It's a great use of scrap yarn. There's so many different ideas for scrap yarn right now, like leftover yarn. And this, I just think, adds a little something to your tree, just to remind you of something that you made during the year maybe, or, you know, past project that you loved. And then you make a little ball and you put it on your Christmas tree, or as a decoration, or maybe as part of a garland or something, or even, you could even maybe add it to a wreath or some sort of decoration. Very, very simple. It was fairly quick to knit. And it's called Christmas Ball on Ravelry. I'll put a link to it down below if you're interested. And that's it for my knitting this right now. It has snowed. It's about minus 15 Celsius outside, or centigrade. The sky is actually quite blue out there right now. We don't normally get that because we're in a valley, so we kind of get socked in, which is really nice that there's still some sunshine going on outside. It's really cold, which I like the cold, so that doesn't bother me at all, except when I catch a cold. I don't like that. This podcast is actually very short and not very much like my usual podcast, so if you want to check out one of my previous ones where I'm feeling better, then that might be an awesome thing to do. Christmas is coming next week. One of my New Year's resolutions is going to be to try to knit from stash only. So that is something that I've been looking at yarn, and there's a yarn that I really want, and I'm not going to allow myself to get it. So I'm sticking to my guns right now because I don't think it would arrive till after January. Anyway.
but it's